I finally feel ready to open myself up to happiness, to accept it as it presents itself to me, and to actively create happiness for myself. I've come to the realization, as many before me in my stage of life, that is, being my early 20s, that the only one who can declare me worthy of a good life is myself. Only I can determine my worth. This epiphany has been the result of a culmination of little truths which have snowballed into a sudden change in myself. Does this make sense? It began with negative thoughts, you know the ones, like, I value other people more than they value me. But I realized that within that there's the seed of something bigger, the realization that I ought to be valued more because I'm worthy of more. Another example might be, I don't know, the only reason people keep me around is so I can be useful to them. This thought acknowledges that I actually have purpose in other people's lives and can be reflected as I'm valuable to others. There's an ounce of self-pride hidden within my self-pity. I also realized I needed to stop trying so hard to be unique. Western culture glorifies individuality, and at school everyone wanted to be special and be different, including me. I wanted so badly to prove I was special. I put so much pressure on myself to make it that way. But now I know that without trying so hard, without overemphasizing or diminishing parts of myself in an effort not to be basic or typical, I can gain a more authentic understanding of what actually makes me who I am. I can appreciate what actually does make me different. It's like your fingerprint. Your fingerprint doesn't need to try to be unique, it just is. You're born that way. Nobody else is your combination of likes, hobbies, interests, traits, personality, temperament, you name it. I guess leading on from this, I realized I don't need to manufacture myself into a shape that is more special and more worthy of love and happiness. And by letting go of that, I can recognize more clearly and authentically my true worth. I'm beginning to develop an appreciation of myself as I am, with no conditions attached. No more measuring my value based on academic performance, or how much money I make, or how many good deeds I perform, or even how many times I say please and thank you. Your self-worth should not be variable. No more self-sabotage. I also recognized I have to be fair to myself. Being in my early 20s, I constantly compare myself and worry if I'm doing the right thing or being left behind. I look at my friends and what they're doing, and I'm doing something completely different, and I worry. Am I making the best choices for myself and for the people I love? Am I setting myself up for a future I'm gonna like? I feel really vulnerable at the moment to finding faults in my position in life compared to other people in my age group, like people I went to school with, or even just people I see online. But I think that if I'm going to compare myself to others, I need to pick better points of comparison and be more critical about it. I guess this hinges on figuring out what exactly I value and what I want. Easier said than done, definitely. But this line of thought naturally brought me to the conclusion that the things that I want and value are going to be completely different to everyone else. Nobody else has my exact background, hopes, dreams, desires, ambitions. Nobody else has the same past. So wouldn't it be unfair to compare myself to anyone else? I also used to feel embarrassed of my position in life because I felt I needed to earn the relative privilege I was born into. By this I mean I had an intense need to prove I was worthy of my life. I felt like the luckiest person in the world, even though my life wasn't perfect. There's always going to be someone more well off or less well off. But because I felt so lucky, I had a need to prove that I was worthy of my life, my privilege. I even put so much pressure on myself to earn the love of the people dearest to me, because I felt like I had to earn everything, I had to work for it. I felt I had to change myself to become the perfect person. If I had such a great start in life, then surely I should be a great person. I should be good at things. I should be academically gifted. I should be nice, like the kindest person ever. I basically set myself up for failure, expecting myself not to have any flaws, faults, vulnerabilities, weaknesses. But now I see after 23 years that really the only person I was trying to earn approval from was myself. And I really did set myself impossible standards. I was doomed to fail, using my insecurities as justification for self-pity and, more importantly, self-sabotage. I put myself in such an unfair position, one that I could never win, but I don't want to play that game anymore. I work hard for what I value. I made peace with my shadow, my reflection, my past. I made a commitment to stop deceiving myself. If happiness is right in front of you and you turn away from it, nobody is going to be there to turn you back around. You have to choose to prioritize your wants and needs. Nobody else can do that for you. Only you can build yourself the life that you want. Only you can make yourself truly happy. I think that starts by just trying to practice making better choices for yourself, day after day, imperfectly but unshakably. I realized, as if upon waking up one day, I just had this epiphany and finally accepted myself for me. Although I know that really it was recognizing slowly small fundamental truths by conversation, interaction, introspection, and happenstance. I realized I don't need to pumice away all of my imperfections and polish my strengths into virtues in order to be worthy of love and happiness, both from myself and other people. And neither do you. You owe it to yourself to chase happiness, to be a friend, not a saboteur. I know that this is not going to be something that I'll feel every day, but I'm hoping that if I make it a habit, eventually that mindset will stay. So if, like me, you sometimes struggle to recognize your value, remember that the more you think healthy thoughts, the more you strengthen the neural pathways in your brain, aka the easier it gets. So try to make a habit of telling yourself that you are special and worthy just the way you are, without needing to change anything. That's not to say you can't ever want to change, but I feel like the desire for self-improvement should always be matched by a consistent sense of self-worth, self-love. The more you're kind to yourself, the easier things get. I know this sounds really cheesy, but the alternative is that you continue to spiral into self-pity, and of course, the more you hate yourself, the more you default to that way of thinking. Someone once said that our habits are what make us, and I think I'm finally realizing just how true that is. I'm trying to make a habit of telling myself that I am good and I am worthy, to set myself up for a healthier future. I feel like it's far too cliche for me to call this a journey of self-love, but I hope that you'll join me either way. Maybe you can relate, maybe you can't. Either way, I'll catch you in the next video.